All right, here we go again. Buckle up. I knew I could move my stuff to storage today successfully, but something, said, you know, cancel it, do it a different day. I'm like, all right. It was a credible message, but I guess this is because I wanted me speaking today, right? Uh, there'll be a point where I won't be able to speak all that much, right? Um, and post all that much. Be a couple days in there. When I'm in the truck, moving truck driving, I can pretty much broadcast the whole ride if I need to. It appears it'll be like a 2 day ride because I'm going a little further. Right, so it'll be shorter days. It'll be nice. It'll be two shorter days, something like 2 8-hour days, I think. Of course, a little bit longer in a moving truck, but the driving time's like 8 hours. Right. I'm looking forward to being there. Right. This is definitely no place to live. Not if you're a real American. It's phony. Kansas is phony. Midwest is all phony. They're all narcoticized. Everybody's paid off. Right. They were paid off years ago with Big Life, and they just keep. They know what they're supposed to do. Be corrupt. But yeah, some direct contracts are transferred. They're calling me on the phone while I'm trying to post. So again, you might want to look who's calling me. I don't know how it. Could be indirect phone calls coming in from spam calls. It could be Satan's stance, but probably not. Well, okay, so this is the point. There's an art form to all of this that you obviously are a little bit off on. The first target should have been again. I guess it's six and one, half dozen other. That's international kind of space or whatever. They were out heading out, with their global chemical warfare goods there. So, but I would have thought you would have started with some like a lab. I thought you would have started with a lab, right? It's just it's just kind of it. I wouldn't say it's mission creep, but kind of like that. That's how you would do it, or I thought you would do it right there. Make some breakfast there. I haven't ate yet. Just have a little bit of coffee. So it's on after all these years. Took a long time to get that thing on. Chemical warfare, that's your justification. Right. They are engaged in chemical warfare. Now, the international community probably won't push back because of the number of lives and number of people that were lost. Right. As long as they don't have a reason to scrap with us over every little jot and tittle of whatever we do. Right. No, because they're suffering. Our people are suffering also. And the more we can contain over here, the less they have to pay for it on the other side. Now, there are some politicians that might receive some pretty big bribes in Europe to speak against it. Maybe some other areas. Maybe some in the United States. But again, nobody can prevail in that argument. I don't believe. Right. Again, right, when you as you amp up, right, you try to show a case, that you can. Obviously, it's chemical warfare, and that's the bottom line at this point. But it's murdering U.S. citizens, right? Well, their point of view is we're just on jumping Norse. They're still probably got that bullshit going on. We're the ones that buy the product, right? Obviously, Mexico's next, right? Well, I thought that the boat, and again, it might be you may not have all the information. I thought the boat was beyond being, it was moving so fast that you thought you were going to lose it. And, I thought maybe that would have been in the announcement. And it may be true still. Well, the boat was moving away at such a high rate of speed. There was no other way to handle it. Right. We agree. You don't have to risk your life. You don't have to try to get into that boat from a helicopter or something. You don't have to. Again, a bigger boat would have been easier, but you don't have to try to. Again, the idea of what law enforcement has to put up with, or what military has to put up with, is BS. Like the idea that they have to. Well, that was controllable, and they're paid to be beat up by protesters in San Francisco when they're just trying to exit a building. Right. That's bullshit. All of it. In fact, those people should have been arrested, and they should be doing at least 2 years in prison. They asked me 2 to 3 years. Right. Anybody that's going to stand there and try to stop the transfer of a prisoner to a vehicle, in martial service, they probably, there's in a better day, they'd have shot you. They're not going to sit there and fight with you. I mean, they probably would have got you down, but well, actually not, because it could have just been two people. Yeah, you could have got shot in that scenario. In the martial service, if there were two people transporting that prisoner and you came up like that, they'd have the authority to shoot you. Right. Right. But you could incapacitate them and take their weapons. Right. So if that was like a U.S. Marshal Service prisoner, and there was there was two agents, and they or two deputy U.S. Marshals taking him out to the vehicle because they just arrested the fugitive, and you did that, they could shoot every last one of you until you cease. Right. So I'm believing those people should be doing 2 to 3 years in prison, federal prison, hard time. That's assault on officer, man. Should be put in the penitentiary, or at least a medium. Right. I agree. I'm not broadcasting on my phone, assholes. I'm calling it on my phone. At least I think it's so. Right. So you might be cutting into the LDS business here in Venezuela. Right. Are the LDS members in the boat? So we should look at taking the labs out. That's what we should be doing. Right. Yeah, their witchcraft is up big. So I think what's happening is they know what's up. I guess. I don't know. Do we have leaks? I think we have leaks. It seems like they know what's up. Now leaks could come in electronically too, where you have somebody has their cell phone next to them, that, like me here. They're listening on my cell phone. I test them with all sorts of crazy stuff. Thanks. So you have to remind people that that phone can be a device where people can listen in on. Their houses could have it. I mean, You got landscapers, you got maintenance personnel for your building if you're in a rental. Even like what's her name? Gnome, Ritzy Gnome. Her like living on a Coast Guard base. You could have the people that are cleaning her space could be paid to put in a listening device. So you need to scan her place, even though it's in the within the perimeter. That's Vietnam, this kind of stuff they do. I'm sure they did it in Afghanistan too. I don't think it did listening device, but provided intelligence, and then of course they were bombers and stuff. Right? Because remember, they're going to try to if they don't think they can bribe the person right out, they'll try to extort them first. So they believe that they have to do this, or so it's a bit of Stockholm syndrome. I guess I take it back. I am looking forward to getting out of here now. I don't know if I have a reception in the mind I don't know about. Someone might maybe some positive people in that town. Right. So, I gotta eat my food before I get out of here. I got about a week left here. Canceled my internet today. Boy, that's difficult. He mentioned every scenario where I could transfer that thing, including the family members, friends. Like, could we transfer this great deal to someone else? They're trying to keep me, but the prices went down. I think I'm probably paying more than I would anywhere else at this point. But I think there's some companies on the East Coast I want to hook up with. Narcos definitely own Kansas. There's no doubt. How, I don't know exactly, but I'm sure it's like a deep state thing. What the deep state does is it protects certain people. And that's where, everybody, like down the train and at the bottom of the chain, they're protected narcos, right? They're paying off the cops and stuff. Well, there's going to be collateral damage. It's just, bound to happen. Right. But, we try to minimize it. And again, at this point, the Colombian military is in much more danger than they ever were. I mean, people lit them on fire. So, fight fire with fire. But, I know the president is probably a little leery on aviation assets and things like that. But, I mean, it's probably should just end it at this point. Because what's going to happen is over a period of time, it's going to degrade the effort. People are going to die. Right. Well, it just doesn't work the way their minds see it, because they short-sighted. Right? Is there any chance that the narcos have satellites or cell tower mounted things? We should look into that. They could have like a Havana syndrome set up. Right. For all we know, that's who that was, Right. We've got to scan for listening devices in living spaces, warn people about speaking around their phone if they're just having a conversation. Like, you go into a meeting, and you have knowledge, right? Your phone could be a listening device. Or you're going out to lunch with somebody, farfoons, I call them the farfoons. Listening device is an amplification, right? The media has that. The media could be a spy, we know that. Thank you, Larry. That's right. So it's, it said told me it was going to relax. I'll just be relaxing today. You'll get it on. It's going to cool off a little bit the next couple of days, and then I'll get it done. And then it said once I start it, don't stop it. Just keep until everything's packed and done. Right. And I got to schedule some people to come in and help me move. Right. That's what I should have done since the beginning of the moving. But again, I shouldn't have had to move. I should have had to move once to a house I purchased. Actually, Huntsville is where I was going to move into. So you see, might have actually gotten that done sooner had I moved into Huntsville. It's not as good as Colorado, but not bad. Colorado Springs is kind of nice, right? Weather-wise, it's got that humidity and that heat. But Huntsville is probably a better location than most. I wouldn't move anywhere else in Alabama, actually. Once I got studying. Right. Thank you. And if you're going to put in Alabama, put in Huntsville. I know it makes sense otherwise, with the base and all the other stuff. Right. What is this? I'll get back to you. Oh, okay. They're trying to get back to me. Yeah, it's a legitimate call. Actually, no, they were 405s. Right. Okay, yeah. I got to figure out what to do with my Massage Envy membership. It's not a big deal. I only have like 3 more monthly payments or something. Right. And I could use those up in Pittsburgh. I find a need. I'm probably going to have to go to Pittsburgh for a couple things. I'll spend the night in Pittsburgh or something. Once I recruit the loyalty of the local police department. To watch my place while I'm not there. Here they'll pay them to go in and screw up my stuff. I've never seen something. I've never seen it. This is my death march. This is where they were going to kill me. They lured me in here with that case of the cop that committed suicide, like they were fighting corruption here. I figured out shortly after I got here that it was bullshit. Right? Nah, they're corrupt, but the same way. They had him kill himself because if he killed himself, it was he's a loose end. Right? He may have said something in court. They may have said something in court to implicate other officers. Right? They lured me here with that case. Right? As if I'd be protected here. Right? Nah, FBI's even corrupt here. Nah, they're protecting the deep state corruption. But the rest is bullshit. Right? That's just probably it's organized. Kansas City Metro is all organized crime and racketeering. I mean, completely gone. Now they're donors, right? That's how they do it. Right. That's one of the ways. Again, there's other stuff. Like extortion. Eat something here in a second. So today I'm just kind of take it easy. today, and tomorrow it's going to rain, and then the next day should be nice. Hopefully, I can try it on that day. But I got a lot I got to do. But each day at a time. 7 days of work should be easy, right? Pretty much what it's going to be. Mostly everything is going to be moved to my storage unit prior to like this weekend, and I won't be moving out till later. I think Thursday or Friday. So once I get all the stuff out of here, except for some stay behind stuff, then I'll be solid. It's easy to clean a place. Taking my bed out. It's going to put up a blow up bed. See, there that is again, blow up bed. So what was it? What was the other cue? Oh, 911 red. Yeah, it was the first time I saw it. It definitely came in like that. I think I posted about that. Well, what was the number was something. I can't exactly tell you everything, but and the color was red. And then the next thing I saw was healer. So it meant to heal it. But then, you need to increase physical output. Oh, it's just horrible here. I doubt my sinus. I've never had sinus issues like I have here. I wouldn't have been as sick as I was if I'd have moved anywhere else, probably. Again, there was probably a physical operation to get me to move here because there was a setup here, right? But there's also a metaphysical. The curses took me down, so I moved to the wrong location. Oklahoma too. The whole Midwest, that whole. Remember the meth gangs and all that. It must have been allowed to a certain degree, right? So I believe the corruption was here even back then, right? And that would be the era of that police officer, that detective that they were going to try, right? Thanks, Larry. So it comes up just, now they're into something different, right? There's no doubt the governments are corrupt here, no doubt. It's just special people who don't get investigated. So, and Trump, you want to not be investigated, right? You're a special person, right? So they tried to extort the president. They try to extort everyone, right? But there's insiders. Like there are people in probably Biden's office, and right at the chain, top of that deep state chain. So we don't want to be, giving bullshit advice. Well, we don't want to have that happen to us, and right, we're not going down like that. Right. Wait a minute. I thought I bought more bread. What happened? Last night. What happened to my pita bread? It's going to be a little restrictive living there. I won't have as many places to shop, but I think they might be a little more protective of their environment in that community because of that. Right? It's just weird that it's never been developed. Well, if you go to, I'm sure maybe they selected other towns, right? Maybe higher elevation or something. Like northern Pennsylvania's probably got more development for cabins and stuff like that. Right. I mean, it might be there too. I don't know. Right. Well, New York has all those. I think they go up to the Berkshires or something. It's Berkshires, whatever it is. Right. We got to do some stuff with a judge up there. Right. So the wealthy people should be interested in that city. It just never looks like it got developed because the crime's so bad. So there's no money there, really, I guess. Right. It is a cheaper area to live. I mean, it's nice for that. I should have actually moved there 2 years ago if I could have really had any type of vision, you know. All right, so staying here and moving further east. I actually was trying to. I think what my brother is weird, and I think he uses his will. So like at a certain point, the deep state will freak him out about me, and then he'll use his will so I don't move out there. His will is for me not to move out there. Like he can end a conversation between him and I just with thinking something. It took me a while to figure this out. So the deep state affects his mind, and then he wills something, and then I don't get there. You don't want to be bothered with it, quote unquote. Right? But the origination is deep state interference. No. Obviously, the labs have to be destroyed. Right. Be great if we can get international assistance on the blockade. Well, at this point, we probably want to circumvent South America. Or not circumvent, encircle, I guess. Right. Top of the chain is China. It's chemical warfare. Right. Here's another scenario what's stopping us from helping these people. We agree. Because all the money we have to spend on interdiction and drug use, we can't help fix up their nations even better. See, this is where the narcotics problem is so overwhelming that we can't help these people build a better country for their people. Because then it's like a vicious cycle. Then they say, well, we got to deal drugs to make any money. Right. So if we could end it, right, and then we could help build up their countries even better than we do now, right? And of course, they'd be safer. And then, like in El Salvador, they'll start moving in the businesses, right? Now there are some issues with El Salvador that there was some foreshadowing there. Hopefully, they can fix those things. Oh, I didn't put the other photo up. That was going to be funny. We went we went shadow ghost there for a minute. Definitely, like I left my VPN off for a while. We're definitely in a mode where I have to use my VPN again. Right. So they're definitely making those type of attacks or conducting those type. Let me see here. I'm trying to install this other VPN I have because it's actually the same service, but it. Wait a minute. On the other phone, I guess. Well, it gives me a couple more options if I do the standalone app instead of the. But I gotta get logged in. That's not it. It's a different one. So yeah, the goal should be to hit the labs and knock them out of commission. Obviously, you're probably there. Get some in there. Bless you, Larry. What I need to find this. Well, again, what happens is if you're like a liberal and you're wanting to do liberal things, we can't effectuate the liberal mission of saving people as long as these people stay in control of their nations. That's really what's happening, right? All right. So that's so once these people are removed and it's all controlled to a certain degree, we'll be able to help those nations restore quality of life and actually improve it beyond anything it's ever been. Right? Every effort we've engaged in so far has been ruined by those people because they try to extort it, and then businesses move out. Once we move businesses in, they move, tend to move out, right? Or new businesses don't move in because sometimes there's an investment and they stay with the investment, right? Now you have people working in like Home Depots and Walmart that are part of narcotics distribution in this country and smuggling. I'll tell you that right now. To be even the executives. And the deep state was protecting them. Agreed. You know, big donor country. Right. Reasonable. Put some eye drops in. Allergies are horrible this time of year. Definitely more mold in this area than what they let on. Actually, my app that I use to do that is kind of sidelined right now. I don't know what they're doing, updating it or what. So I'm going to go offline here. I'm going to have to get out there and walk today a bit. All right, stay peaceful. Praise God and all to do. Praise God.